I distilled my value proposition into something that we can talk about right now that makes me very unique. I've got a buyer, I've got an investor, I've got a walkthrough, right? The home value just in and of itself is just compelling enough for them to register online, but it's a tough sale to say, well, I know you're not ready, but let me stop by your house and help you get the home value, right? Like most people, they're going to basically be okay with an online evaluation until it's actually time to sell it. And you want to develop that relationship early on. When you guys think about your business in buying muscular leads or otherwise, what are some of the blockers that you're facing right now to realize hopefully that you've already set your 2025 goals? So, when you're thinking about the last couple of weeks, what have you been facing, or what challenges or wins? We can talk about the wins as well. Who wants to kick us off? So,
all right.
Hey,
jump in here.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Hey.
I know that mushroom coffee you're drinking. Pretty good mushroom coffee, if I might say so myself.
Yeah, but, good. I'm enjoying it so far. Other than the colors. No, I'm just kidding.
I've been there, and it's not that kind of coffee, so we can say that much. I enjoy Mescula so far, and I love all your stuff. I've been actually researching you a lot, man, looking into the Spotify audio. So, dude, your story is amazing. Congratulations.
Thanks, bro.
Of course, you're welcome, dude. I guess my thing here is, I don't know if you know about the Northeast market, but they're cold-blooded up here, and it's tough to get appointments. And I'm not saying it's tough. I'm not trying things like that. I'm just, having conversations. It's either F off or cut you off mid-sentence. You can't really connect. So what would you do in that situation for yourself? Like, you have a majority of clients who are just cold, don't want to hear you talk. Well, not because I want to talk, but don't want to talk to you, even though they did request these things. What's your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I do think the Northeast can be challenging within the topic of rapport building specifically, because they're not really into it. Like they're not looking for that connection that maybe someone in other parts of the country might enjoy. What's interesting though, look, I've never lived in the Northeast, but I feel like in coaching agents in that part of the country, one of the things I've found for these other teams and agents is that although initially they can be pretty cold, when they let you in, they really let you in. It takes a while to get there, but once you get there, they're pretty, they're okay with connection. They're just resistant to it at first. Now, has that been because this is real estate's a hyper local thing. Have you found that to be the case, generally speaking, in the cultures that you sell to?
Once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
And that's true. I agree with you 100%. The whole thing is, I guess I get stuck on this, is just being able to serve them and getting in and getting connected, getting to the appointment, or even having a conversation about it. Because it's just, no, I don't have time, or I'm going somewhere. I've had the person 3 times in a row be like, oh, I'm in the car, can't talk.
Right. So look, here's the challenge. You just in the short time of listening to you speak and the things that you've said and the way that you've said it, I think that you're a very caring, conscientious person. You really you enjoy serving others, you enjoy helping others, and I could explain why I came to that conclusion, but it's neither here nor there. That's my opinion based on what you said. And if I'm right that that's the type of person that you are, it is dependent on them having an awareness of your value for them to actually say yes in some way, please help me, right? So they need to know that you're valuable for them to actually invite you in to work with them. The problem is they don't value a real estate agent until it's ready to stick a sign in the yard. Right. So until they're ready to actually do something, they think that you're not a relevant conversation to have. And I think that this is compounded by the fact that in your area, people are quick to write you off. Right. They don't have time. They're not trying to be sold anything. So really, you have to figure out what is your value proposition to a homeowner if they're not looking to sell 6 to 12 months. And I'm not asking for that value proposition yet. But as you think about why are you a valuable person to talk to that's not ready in 6 to 12 months? You have about 10 seconds to distill that into 2 sentences. So you get them on the phone and they're like, oh, I'm in the car, I can't really talk. You have to figure out very quickly how to affirm them and have a value proposition that is at least compelling enough for them to listen to you another 20 seconds. And if your value proposition is compelling enough in those 20 seconds, they'll give you another minute or two, right? And so if I was to ask you, why are you valuable? And if you don't know the answer, that, it's because I'm putting you on the spot. To someone that's not ready to sell just yet, they're considering selling in 6 to 12 months. What is your honest feeling about your value proposition to them in that moment on that phone call?
I'm not here to just help you sell a home. I'm here to help you into the next steps into your life, into your new home, figuring out the finances. I have financial advisors I connect them with. I have a bunch of different avenues they can go. So
that was a good first try. Was that hard at all to shoot from the hip real quick and just I'm just curious.
No.
Okay, good.
No,
I didn't want to put you on the spot.
Not really.
All right, good.
I'm fine with being on the spot. It makes me better. So.
All right, good. So for me, I think all the things you said generally are valuable, right? And none of them really have necessarily any urgency around them. It's like, okay, financial advisors, planning for the move. Okay, I'll keep you in mind, right? From your perspective, I think some things that can create urgency are don't say it if it's not true, but if you have buyers looking for a home like theirs. So if you have a database of buyers, which all of you should have, by the way, all of you should have a database of buyers shopping for a home. But if you don't, that's another topic. But you could say to them something like, I hear you. I know you're not looking at selling anytime soon. I have buyers looking in your neighborhood. If the price was right, would you be open to receiving an offer? Right now, because you can't really do the warm fuzzies when they're trying to rush off the phone. And so you've got to get right to it, right? And so one way of getting right to it is you've got buyers looking. Another one is if you have access to any of those cash offer programs in your market, like Open Door, Homeward, Zudilio. These are institutional investors that buy houses in droves in just about every market in America. Not every market, but just about every market in America. And you could say, I represent an institutional investor. They're writing offers in your area. That could be another quick value proposition to keep them and listen for another 30 seconds, right? And you notice in both of those first 2 examples, if I preface I've got a buyer or I've got an investor, if I preface that statement with, I know you're not ready to sell anytime soon, I soften the urgency because it's this tough dance. If I'm like, I want to buy your house tomorrow, they're not ready to sell their house tomorrow. So you soften it. I know you're not ready yet, but I've got somebody. When are you thinking about moving? You're getting right to it. The one that works in my market that you'll hear me talk a lot about because it continues to work is, oh, you're not ready. I'm so glad. We need to set up a time for me to walk the property. I've got so many clients wasting money fixing stuff they're not going to get an ROI on. Before you're ready, I need to make sure you don't waste money fixing things that aren't going to help you sell the home. It takes about 15 or 20 minutes. And if you're open to selling in the next 6 to 12 months. And so none of those things are the silver bullet, but you just saw through a quick exercise with you, Javier, I distilled my value proposition into something that we can talk about right now that makes me very unique. I've got a buyer, I've got an investor, I've got a walkthrough, right? The home value just in and of itself is just compelling enough for them to register online, but it's a tough sale to say, well, I know you're not ready, but let me stop by your house and help you get the home value, right? Like most people, they're going to basically be okay with an online evaluation until it's actually time to sell it. And you want to develop that relationship early on. So if I was to distill everything I just said to you, it's 2 things. One, you need to have a very 1 to 2 sentence offer for them. My favorite is, I'm glad you're not ready. I wanted to schedule a time to do a walkthrough, but I wouldn't just start with that one just because you don't know. I like to ask the question, would you be open to an offer in the next 6 to 12 months if the price was right? I like to ask that question because then it sets me up with walking the property. I do those 2 hand in hand. If you do have buyers, you could say, I'm sure you're not ready to sell yet, but I've got buyers looking in your neighborhood. You could try that one, but it either works really well or it doesn't work really well. There's not like a middle of the road. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of direction. But, just look at it in like stages. If I can get past the first 30 seconds, I'm going to buy myself another minute. And so the other thing that I would tell you, and I know I'm bouncing around, I'm going to blame the coffee. But the other thing is with the opening, I don't want you to call them and say, hey, this is Javier with Acme Realty, just calling to respond to your inquiry on my website about your home value. I don't want it. I want it to be, hey, this is Javier with Acme Realty. I got your request. I've already started working on the home evaluation, and I just had 2 questions. That's how I'm going to open up the conversation. I'm already working on it. That's how you asked for it. I'm already working on it. I had 2 questions. That's going to be my opening. Does that make sense?
I'm not going to lie to you, Barry. I'm sure that what you gave me was gold in Word format. I had a huge outage in my service, and I didn't hear any of it, but I'm sure it was fantastic.
All right.
Barry,
I'm going to type it.
Sorry if this is Victor, Barry, if I may. I can also send this recording to Javier if you want me to do that, Javier.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
awesome.
fine.
All right. So, Laith, how's it going, buddy? You're muted. I think you're.
Yeah.
There you go.
How's it going, Barry?
Good, man.
So obviously, when you get a lead in, the best thing is to do a phone call. But I've had at least 3 or 4 leads recently that blocked the number from Ashley, that's the automated assistant. So I try to call from my own number, but they're not answering that either. So between texting and emailing, what would you recommend? And then I'll typically follow up a week later, because by then I'm hoping like they forgot the number, and like if they get a random number, they'll pick up. But between texting and emailing, just to keep that lead fresh.
Yeah. I mean, I think with texting, the goal is to get them on the phone. So you want to dangle something valuable via text and email. So the dangling of something of value is you could start with, I've already been working on your home value. I had 2. Right. You could do, I have buyers. There's been a recent update to your market that I wanted to talk to you about. When do you have 5 minutes to chat? That's the phrase we like to use. 5 minutes to chat. When you're doing emails, my email marketing content works really, really well because I write emails with the assumption that people don't read emails.
Okay.
So I write my emails like people write text messages, and I use the subject line to basically get the message across, to the point that my subject line is ugly. Like most businesses, when they write the subject line of the email, it's like, let's say it's 7 words. And the first letter of each word is capitalized, right? And it's very professional. Maybe there's a dash. Your home value with each first letter capitalized, dash, and then their address, right? Be very professional. I'm going to write my subject line like, John, comma, you contacted me about your home value. I had 2 quick questions, question mark. Super ugly, right? Yeah. Super ugly. And then the body of the email is, let me know when you have 5 minutes, Barry. And then under my name, it's going to have dash sent from my iPhone. That's automated. I've automated that. Yeah. The engagement rate's really high because people don't automate emails like that. Who would automate an ugly email? Right? It doesn't make sense. And that's why people open it. The other one is putting their phone number in the subject line. I tried you at phone number with area code, phone number and area code, but no one answered question mark. Is this your number? Question mark. I don't know about you, but if somebody emails me my phone number as a subject line, you got my attention at least for 5 seconds, right? And we're in an attention economy, right? So the businesses that are able to get the consumer's attention are the businesses that end up making money. And so for emails, look, they don't think they need you yet. You guys have to come up with reasons for people to need to talk to you. You have to think of reasons that you are relevant to them today. Talking about the high level process for somebody that's 6 to 12 months out is not valuable for like 90%. Of course, occasionally you're going to get the person that's a planner. They're going to appreciate it, but that doesn't scale because there's just not a lot of those people out there. The majority of people are like, yeah, later on. So you have to come up with reasons that are compelling for them to talk to you. And then when you start to talk to them, you've got to come up with reasons that are relevant to them to walk the property, right? And I bring it up every week because it's still crushing for us. That repair inspection. Has anybody, I know every week people have used it. If you're available, has anybody used that? Just, you can raise your hand on the chat. You can go to the reaction panel and just do some kind of emoji, or you can raise your hand if you're on camera. Has anybody used that? Okay, I see a few fingers, and it worked for you. All right, so it works every week. Every week people use that approach, and it works because it's something that Zillow can't offer them. Redfin can't offer it to them, and so it's very compelling. Does that make sense, Laith?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, because what I've been doing, again, they just block the number as soon as they get the automated message. So I'll text them from my personal number, and then I'll get a reply, but I'll text them, call them, double dial, but I'll get a reply to the text, but they won't accept the phone call. They just brush me off, or I'm not interested, blah. I'm going to try the email with their phone number. I think that'll get attention.
Now, how do you know that they've blocked you?
I'll call them from the Miskula app, and it will ring. It says they're on D&D.
They're on D&D. Okay. And
it automatically says that.
And then when you try from your cell phone, does it work?
Yes. So before I text them, I'll double dial. It's rare that I've got them on the phone. If I get them on the phone, then we have the conversation, but it's rare. Then after the double dial, I'll send them a text. Okay. Hey, and I've started working on the same thing. I've started working on your home eval. I just have a couple items I need to clarify with you. And then usually they respond, I thought it was just something where I'll get a number, or can you just text it to me, or whatever it is. Again, it's just trying to get that phone call to get that in person. Just like the phone calls themselves are a bit harder to get now, but I'm going to try that email trick. I think emails I don't even get responses to. But again, like you said, that's actually a good idea. If you put their phone number in it, that'll get attention.
Sure. Now, one thing I do want to say, a big change over the last 12 months with AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and all the cell phone carriers, they've gotten really aggressive with blocking marketing texts and marketing calls, to the point that a lot of them are not delivering the messages and not telling us as business owners. So if you see a theme where consistently you're getting blocked, some CRMs, and I don't know how this works, so I'm not trying to create a problem for Mescula, but it'd be an interesting discussion to have, to say, hey, can you change my phone number in my CRM to try to refresh it?
So I'm in Canada. I don't know if that's the same thing as the same rule.
I'm not sure. Yeah. I mean, what cell phone providers are in Canada?
Bell, Rogers, TELUS, Fido.
So you should do some research to find out. What I would probably do is if you have ChatGPT, I would probably go to ChatGPT, list those carriers, and say, are these cell phone carriers in Canada blocking business calls and texts similar to how AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile are doing in America? And then see what ChatGPT says.
No, I'm going to check it out. I haven't heard of that before, so I'm going to check that out.
It's a big change in America, like pretty substantive, to where it's worse than email marketing spam rules. Okay. It's like that transformative. So I wouldn't be surprised if other countries are doing something similar, maybe not as aggressive, but something similar.
Interesting. Possibly. I'm going to look into it. I haven't heard of it before, so I'll look into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Kim, you had a question about the buyer version. What do you close it with? Would you be open to it? So this is where I say I have buyers for your house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I always do is I like to metaphorically hold the buyers hostage for my seller. And I basically say, I do have buyers looking in your neighborhood. I'd love to market your home to them. But first I need to stop by and do a walkthrough of the property, right? So basically the focus is getting their home in front of my database. In order to do that, I need to visit the home. Now, one of the things I'm going to tell the seller once I get to the home is what repairs, right? I always do that needed, the home value, and then how I market the home. When I go over the listing stuff, the listing presentation and how I market the home, I'm then going to segue into you got to list the home with me for me to market your home to my buyers. Because sometimes homeowners say, well, bring me a buyer and I'll pay you a commission. And I always tell them all of my marketing is keyed to our MLS. So, and that's actually the truth. I don't know if that's the truth for you, but for me, my marketing platform is keyed to my MLS. And so all the photos and everything, that's how everything gets there. And then I aggregate it out to my database. Well, my marketing system is very expensive. And so I need to be able to be compensated for the efforts of listing your home and getting professional photography. It's just a very logical and truthful response. And it's all in your delivery. If you tell a homeowner that you have buyers looking and they're at all interested, you need to transition the focus from you having buyers to you visiting the property, because you've got their interest, and that's a really compelling reason for them to want to talk to you. That's a homeowner I want to visit with for sure. So getting that appointment, getting face to face, and it really elevates a lot of you have been buying leads from all kinds of, if you're like me, you've been buying leads from all kinds of services for a long time. And so for you to be able to go back and look at them and see who's registering where, you can use all that when you're trying to convert a seller lead. Unless we have another question, I want to share one other thing that we're doing with our nurture of our home value leads. So feel free, anybody, if you want to ask a question. But for me, what we've been doing is we are segmenting. In our area, we don't use counties, we use zip codes. So what we do is we segment market data information based off of zip codes. You could do neighborhoods, you could do counties or townships, whatever is relevant for how you segment areas. And then we do very specific market data to that sub-market. And so we send them that. If they engage that content in any way, if they open the email, we're notified. If they click on our website, we're notified. We send them their home value. If they click on the home value, we're notified. Any homeowner that clicks on any content that we sell, we always do a call within a week. It's not urgent, but within a week. And we always just do how you doing? By just checking on you. Like it's not, hey, saw you were looking at my content, figured I'd call you. That's creepy. Don't do that, right? You're using their behavior as a signal that they are interested in the local market. And the sale with most of these leads, most of these homeowners, the sale you're making is the value of them meeting with you face to face. I'm going to say that again because it's really important. For most of these leads, the sale that you're making is not that you're the listing agent for them. That's not the sale that you're making over the phone. The sale that you're making is the need for you to visit their home. Now, there's a lot of reasons that I've listed over time, and I can give them again if somebody needs them, as to why you as the agent need to walk their property. What you decide to make the pitch as the value proposition depends on the conversation, right? If they aren't ready yet, you got to come up with a reason to meet with them. If they're thinking about selling in 3 to 6 months, you got to come up with a reason to meet with them. If they're thinking about selling in 9 to 12 months, you got to come up with a reason to meet with them. That's the sale. That's what you're selling in that moment, guys. And this is why most people don't convert seller leads. Most people don't convert seller leads because they're disappointed that the homeowner is not ready to stick a sign in the yard. And for you're not going to make a lot of money if you're waiting for somebody that is ready to sell. You're going to make a lot of money by meeting with homeowners. Real estate is a contact sport. You got to meet with homeowners and you got to talk to them about their home. You build the relationship and you make the process easy for them. How do you make the process easy for them? Well, you could do, staging advice, contractors, talking with a mortgage person, helping them find an out-of-area agent because they want to relocate to a new state. Whatever their blocker is, you're going to just excitedly support their journey and make it easy. I got a guy, I got a girl, I've got somebody that can help you. I know this business is going to support you. And you're just being helpful. But what happens is you accelerate the funnel, right? And the reason why a lot of you don't make money with seller leads are because you're just not getting involved, because they're not asking you to be involved, but you're also not creating a need to be involved. So that's the big takeaway today, guys. You have to create a need to be involved, but they don't know. It's like me in high school. I just played sports. When the teacher asked, does anybody have any questions? I wasn't listening. So I didn't know enough about what was just discussed to even ask a question. And for most of these homeowners, they're so overwhelmed by the process that the thought of you saying to them, do you have any questions? They're like, no, I don't know. I'm not ready yet, right? They're overwhelmed. That's why they say they're not ready yet. They don't even know what to ask. So you have to think about the questions for them, right? And I do that for you guys on this call, right? We kick off the call and I'm not like, all right, hey, this is Barry. Mescula asked me to be here. Who has a question? I don't do that. That's not what I do because that's not that valuable, right? If I'm going to burden you with having to have such an awareness of what your needs are and articulate your needs and form a question so that you can receive help, I'm burdening you with what the content's going to be. But what I do is I say, hey, these are things you should be thinking about in your business right now. Here are the scenarios that you need. And what starts to happen? You listen to me bring these up and you're like, oh, that's me. And then you unmute and you're like, well, Barry, what about this? Or Barry, what about that? So in the same way I'm providing value on these calls and I'm anticipating your questions, right? And what you should be thinking about. And then I'm teaching you so that you can actually leave this call. You guys are busy. You just spent 30 minutes with me out of your day, right? And if I just sat here and said, guys, if you don't have any questions, we can end early, right? You would never come back because you don't value that, right? So you have to, in the same way that I structured this sales call with you or this coaching call with you guys, where I'm anticipating and giving you scenarios, I'm investing, I'm asking. And when you talk, I dive in, I latch on to what you're saying. When Javier was talking, I picked up on character traits of who he is and how he approaches his business, right? That's how you have to approach every homeowner. And if you're nervous that you're going to make them mad and you're worried that people aren't going to like you, you're thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about them, right? And so when I'm on these calls with you guys, I'm not thinking about myself. I'm thinking about you, what your needs are. And you feel my passion on the subject come out. That's why we go over so often, because I'm passionate about helping all of you grow your business. I want you to carry the same energy I bring to these coaching calls and my investment in you. I want you to carry that same energy when you're talking to these strangers on the phone that kick off the call with, I'm not that interested, I'm not serious, I'm driving. I just thought it was going to be an email, right? And you have to laugh and say, oh, I totally understand. I can't stand talking to people on the phone, so I totally get it. Hey, before I let you go, one quick question, right? And then ask the question. And what you guys are going to be, it's quite remarkable the number of times when you use the phrase like, I totally understand, I'm the same way. Hey, one quick question before I let you go. Are you open to receiving an offer in the next 6 to 12 months if the price was right? And they're going to say yes. Okay, perfect. The reason why I asked that question is, and then you run with what you're comfortable with. For me, it's talking about the walkthrough of repairs because I want to get face to face. And so I sell the concept of the value of them not wasting money. If they're considering moving in the next year, they probably have a very long list of things they think they need to do. My job is to shrink that list. And they see an immense value in that. All right. So I want some of you, and I don't even need to see a show of hands, to commit to trying that this week with the next human that you talk to that's a lead that wants their home value. I want you to commit to acknowledging and celebrating. Oh, I'm the same way. I totally get it. I don't like talking to people. Oh, yeah, I hate talking when I'm in the car, too. I totally understand. Hey, before I let you go, I saw you were looking at your home value. I just had 2 questions about the home. Or I saw you were looking at your home value. Are you open to selling in the next 6 to 12 months? Right? And then you just press in from there. All right? I want you to commit to that. Press into it. Go after it. I guarantee you, if you master what I'm sharing with you on this call, I guarantee you will sell a lot of houses. I've scaled my business off of it, and it's how I do 600 sales a year currently with 80 agents. This works, and so that's why you hear the conviction in my voice. So have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Let the team at Mescula know if you need any help. Thanks, Neil. Thanks, Kim. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Bye.